And now when we look at Riley Leonard, you touched upon this, but go a little bit more in depth. So my thought is I've seen Riley Leonard play a lot of football. I saw the Texas A&M game. I saw some of the Louisville game and can't think of anything else in this season out of Riley Leonard as a Notre Dame quarterback, but saw him a lot at Duke, saw him obviously as a Duke quarterback against Notre Dame and the way that went. He always struck me as a baller, a gamer, guy that did whatever he needed to do to get the job done, whether it's, dodging a linebacker or putting a helmet into or a shoulder pad into a safety, and just making enough throws to get it done, protect the football, all those things, scratch and claw, as opposed to a Sam Hartman, more traditional pocket passer, Peyton Manning-esque type, not elevating his talent to that level, but the way he approaches the game and the way the offense would have to run with a Sam Hartman versus a Riley Leonard. Did you and Notre Dame fans get what you expected out of Riley Leonard to this point?
I mean, I think if you watched him, you got what you expected. I think some Notre Dame fans here, got a quarterback from the portal, so it's going to be somebody that chases 4,500 yards passing or something. It's like, no, that's never what Riley Leonard was. He is an incredibly gifted athlete. I think the thing it's so weird when you watch him because this happens with certain players. And I don't want to make it seem like, Riley Leonard makes everything look easy. But he never looks like he's running particularly hard. And it never looks like he's running particularly fast. But you look at him at the end of the day, he's running away. He's gaining distance on a defensive back. He's putting guys away with it. Like he is incredibly quick, very incredibly athletic kid. And if you understand that, it's kind of like, Notre Dame runs this offense where they're going to try to pound you. You mentioned the running backs there, and that's the story. I think that was an interesting part of the Stanford game just this past week is you look, and Riley Leonard, I think, had only 33 yards rushing, which is low for him. He did have an 8-yard touchdown run, I believe it was, in that game. Jeremiah Love, only 6 carries in this one. Jadarian Price, I want to say 8 or 9 carries in this one. And it seems like what they're trying to do is keep this backfield, what is the bread and butter of this offense, let's face it, keep it fresh for this stretch run here because you have 3 games, you get another bye week. And then you have Florida State to start off kind of that last third of the season. And so the way it kind of sets up for this Notre Dame team right here, it sure as heck seems like they are trying to rest some of those legs. So they have some pretty fresh legs in November compared to what some of the opponents will offer.
Folks, we appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. Please like and subscribe. Check out Nick's work at Notre Dame on SI. You've got the X information to follow both Nick and all the content there at Notre Dame on SI. All right. Obviously, as being part of this regular ACC rotation, Notre Dame has basically faced Georgia Tech almost 50% of the time, close to it. So it's been a regular game that we've seen that Notre Dame has, based on my recollection, without looking up the scores. I remember there was a 52-0 here recently that they've pretty much just dominated this series. But this is a pretty pesky Georgia Tech outfit, and Vegas has certainly recognized this as just an 8.5-point spread, which is healthy, but still nothing to scoff at, as this game is going to be played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So what are your initial impressions out of Brent Key's team and Haynes King at quarterback?
Yeah, I think it's one of those of Haynes King is a great athlete. Has a lot, I think, a lot of Riley Leonard to him. Not necessarily a great thrower. You don't look at him and think like, oh my goodness, he's NFL caliber. But so many people, maybe you deal with this, Mark, on a regular basis. I know I do. I'm just outside Chicago, so it's like I'm the exception when I talk to my friends. It's like I try to talk Notre Dame or talk Big Ten or whatever it is. Okay, that's cool, that happens, but tell me about the guys that are going to be in the NFL. It's like I watched them on Saturday. Like, God bless them if they get to the NFL. I don't necessarily care what happens when they get to the NFL, though. And he is he's one of those molds of a quarterback that is an absolute pain to probably have to deal with if I'm a defensive coordinator, because when you account not just for a quarterback that, oh, he can escape, he can run a little bit, but when you have to account for a quarterback that can get physical with you, that isn't going to be just brought down as soon as he's touched, like some quarterbacks do when they get outside of the pocket, like that's what you see with Haynes King. And he has had some turnover issues. I think that's where I like Notre Dame in this game. If I like this team to be able to exploit something with Georgia Tech, it's Notre Dame. Al Golden, the defensive coordinator, he loves is an understatement, is obsessed with getting pressure, creating pressure, whatever it takes. If it's sending the house, if it's sending safeties, whatever he has to do, he wants to make life absolutely hell on the opposing quarterback. Does not want to get them comfortable in any capacity whatsoever. And I think that that's where the big thing is in this game of how is Al Golden going to be able to do that? Because you do have a quarterback that statistically, kind of historically, in his career at Georgia Tech, has been willing to turn the ball over. And so I think that's going to be what Notre Dame's game plan is just get after King, get after King, get after King, and trust the rest. There's a young group of linebackers on this Notre Dame team that kind of went into the year with, all right, there's not a lot of experience. There's a 60-year senior, Jack Kaiser, and he's great. But outside of that, there's a lot of hype, but not a lot of known commodities. I can't say enough about sophomore Drake Bowen. Won the Butkus Award as a senior, was from Andrean High School in Northwest Indiana. And his first year on campus was okay. Yeah, he's going to play 2 sports. He's the baseball player, linebacker guy, played on special teams, played in blowouts. But, I mean, from that Texas A&M game, he has been one of those kind of just attitude type tone setters on this defense. And I think you've really seen him grow. And I expect him to have not necessarily a coming out party, but I expect his role to only grow as the season goes on. And I think with Georgia Tech offensively, I would look for Drake Bowen to be a key piece if you haven't watched a lot of Notre Dame this year to keep an eye on for this Saturday.
Nick, to your point, Haynes King, 16 picks last year, 27 touchdown passes, 16 interceptions.
I knew it was high. I didn't realize it was that high.
It was that high. 1 this year through 7 games.
Okay.
So he's cleaned it up. 71% passer this year, 8 touchdowns, 1 pick. What's really impressive with him, again, you mentioned he's a runner, he's an athlete, is that when you can run around as a quarterback and average 5.7 yards per carry, because that's with the sack yardage included. Right. He's still at 5.7 with 6 touchdowns. Jamal Haynes is a guy that ran for over 1,000 yards for them last year. He's on pace to do the same this year. And they got a couple wide receivers, Malik Rutherford with 40 catches. Eric Singleton has 30, but actually he is considered to be the NFL future threat, more the downfield guy. So, yeah, this Georgia Tech outfit is not necessarily any kind of joke to be discarded this week.
Yeah, I mean, they went in and I think they ruined Florida State's season. I don't think Florida State's as bad as Florida State has presented itself to be. I think a lot of that is getting hit in the face in week 1 and not being able to respond, and that tone kind of being set. And listen, if you're Georgia Tech, what else? How much more could you enjoy something? You did it to Florida State already. Then you have Notre Dame that, we don't get a true home game. Instead, we're playing where the Falcons play. Well, it'd be nice to go ruin Notre Dame's season. Like, I don't think it'll be too difficult to give like the rah-rah pep-up speech to have Georgia Tech ready to play. Like, you have the opportunity you beat Notre Dame. Not only you ruin Notre Dame's season, but gives even more validity to, you beat Florida State, but Florida State's kind of down. No, Georgia Tech has a lot to gain by a potential win in this game, and I think this will be a team that's very much ready to go for Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, 3:30 Eastern, folks, on Saturday. Check out Nick's work leading up to the game, of course. And, of course, post-game, you can catch Nick's analysis of Notre Dame and Georgia Tech. Nick, appreciate you stopping by, breaking things down for us.
Absolutely, Mark. Thank you for the invitation, as always.